Why did JD Vance abandon his fellow Marines in Iraq? It's a fair question, since Vance is asking a similar question about Kamala Harris's VP, Tim Walz. Vance is feigning outrage over the fact that Tim Walz retired from the military after 24 years of service, guys. He's saying he should have stayed 25 years. It's crazy. What's especially weird about this is that Tim Walz finished his tour after 20 years before 9/11. 9/11 happened September 11th, horrible day in American history, and Tim Walz wanted to support his country again, wanted to serve his country, so he re-enlisted after 20 years and served another 4 years. What did JD Vance do? JD Vance joined the Marines, and you're thinking, God, I thought Marines like gun-toting, fighting in Iraq, against Al-Qaeda. He was a journalist. He was a writer. He would write little stories about what happened that day in Iraq. That's it. Nothing wrong with that. Hey, I have no problem with somebody who, writes for a living. I write for a living. I have. But don't pretend you were some gun-toting Marine versus the other guy being too weak when you were writing stories at a desk. And when JD Vance finished his tour after 4 years, he left. There was still a war going on in Iraq. He left his men behind. He decided to go home and make a lot of money in Silicon Valley. Tim Walz spent 24 years. When his term was up, he re-enlisted for another 4. So yeah, JD Vance wants to talk about whose military service is better, who was a pencil pusher and who was in combat. Neither of them was in combat, but Tim Walz re-enlisted and served 24 years for his country. JD Vance, 4.